कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परम राधा पुण्यत के कलिंद तनया तिरे च बंशी बटे प्रेमन माधव साध
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to the assembled devotees of the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society, which was incorporated in 2002 by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu. And we're very happy to be a member of his society and have a chance to serve Srila Prabhupada with the same focus and dedication that he has in promoting Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master of all devotees and present still in his Vani incarnation. And I'm so glad to see him on the screen. I see that you're not driving, which I like.
Not yet. You'll be driving a little later.
Good, but at least you're here for now and for the class. So it's really a blessing that we're all here as a team, because we have a specific, methodology in rolling out our programs, as you all know, and it's outlined in our invitations. And by the way, when you get the invitation for the class, whatever class, I believe that the link is the same for every class. So no matter what, if you have a class that you've been sent an invitation prior and somehow or other you don't get the invitation for the class during this session, you can click on the old link and it should go up as a connection for the Zoom meeting. And therefore you can attend our sadhana program. Yes, this is a sadhana program, a regulated program of opportunity to associate with like-minded God brothers. Because nowadays, it's hard to find people who have a common understanding of this philosophy. And there's so much philosophical controversy circulating in social media and on the internet. I'm talking about your emails. I'm also speaking about the social media platforms like Facebook. There's TikTok and Instagram. So all kinds of people posting information in social media. And so I wanted to comment on that just briefly, that a lot of times these social media platforms are the opportunity for individuals to become their own national inquirer. Now, some of you may be aware of it if you're in America. The National Inquiry, for those who are not, is a magazine that puts out all of the information about scandals. That's what they focus on. And it's popular. I haven't seen one in many years, actually. I hope it's still in print. But was a very popular format for people to read about infidelity, to read about divorce, to read about all kinds of things. So like that, the social media platform for many people is an opportunity for them to become their own editors of information concerning people that fall down, let's say. Nowadays, there's a big controversy circulating in my emails on Rupanuga from Florida. He's more or less very relevant these days. But because he was associated with Srila Prabhupada in his early years, he disappeared from the scene in the 70s, I believe. So he has no real history from that point, but he's got these points of view about initiation, that you're not able to be initiated by the Ritvik system. That's what he's quoting, basically. And there's a lot of controversy about it, and it's a philosophical debate. This is an interesting opportunity for us to discuss philosophy. But as opposed to giving information about Giriraj last year, that was the big celebrity fall down. That is different. That's talking about the guy went here and he rented this hotel and he was in Bangkok and then he came back here and then he did this and he went to Finland, this fellow from Mayapur. Okay. But that's not going to help us going back to Godhead. Not at all. In fact, it can be very disturbing to hear that, and it's discouraging at the same time. So our main focus, if actually in our classes, people have, sometimes they give an opinion. Oh, you guys are fault-finding. No, actually, we're fact-finding. And when you follow the classes, you'll see that we go to the different letters and scriptures that support the statements that we make about Prabhupada's existence in sound and his position as the Vani incarnation. We're not just giving opinion. We're educating our members, and this is the business of Siksha, people that are training others, how to properly understand this philosophy. So all you have to do, a lot of people get a hold of Yashodanandana and myself, and they ask us questions. Oh, what about this? What about that? I know Yashoda was saying yesterday, Prabhu, that he's had 30 emails. Correct, Prabhu? He had 30 emails, and all this latest issue is with also with this Purujit, some Bhakta from Canada, actually, used to be in Toronto. There's a whole section about him circulating around how he's supporting the changed books of Jayadvaita. It's an interesting issue. And it can be philosophically debated. And people can understand the truth of the matter when they associate with our membership. And that's what we do. We explain the truth to other people based on philosophy that Prabhupada has given us. and not concocted by mental speculation. This was going on in a very, very big way by people who are interested in profit, adoration, and distinction because of the ability to spread or misinformation through our philosophy. It is a deep swamp. I'm going to finish up here, and we'll move to the diaries, of course. I've been sending Yashodanandana Prabhu clips from a devotee from England, I believe. He's an East Indian fellow, and he's very handsome and somewhat well spoken. And it appears he's traveling around preaching, but when you hear him speak, it is totally sahajya. It's remarkable, Rupa Rama Raghava, remarkable. And very disappointing to see how deteriorated that group has become. Yashodanandana often corrects me when I say the mission has been destroyed. The mission has not been destroyed, but Prabhupada's institution that he worked on so diligently back in the 60s, and it's very interesting, we're moving forward in the diaries, and today we're going to read from July 1966, after Prabhupada had entered another phase of the development at 26 Second Avenue. Oh, and we're going to see Prabhupada's pace changes very much as he starts to gain success in his preaching work. But this state of affairs that's going on is far away from the original preaching work that Prabhupada gave us to follow his example, and at the same time, repeat his message without change. It's not hard. But for them, because of motivation, whatever it is, it's changed. It's dramatically changed. So use the conclusion, use the social media for your information, that's okay. And you can engage in philosophical debate with people, to actually use social media to resource all the garbage that is going on amongst people. That's not necessary. We're not interested in that. You'll note in our programs, we don't get into elaborate discussions on that. We don't. We concentrate on presenting the Shastra, the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, to support how we're understanding it from a transcendental point of view. And that Prabhupada lives in his Vani incarnation, Vijaya Pandit. He lives in sound. This misunderstanding is a very serious deviation and must be avoided. So all of these points, please, in this new year, 2025, we're going to continue to march on, Mother Ruchisha, and present the philosophy without fear, and we are going to present the philosophy without adulteration, and we'll work together cooperatively to protect Prabhupada's legacy moving into the future of this existence that we have. Yes, work together. It's very important. And we're going to go to the diaries of Srila Prabhupada today. And you're going to notice there's a change. He mentions it, that he's going to hand over the calculation of money, the bookkeeping, to somebody else. Excuse me, so he doesn't have to be involved. Let me get to my pages here. Chaturdasi, sunrise 4:35, sunset 7:32, moon sets 4:07. Today, I entered the new house at 26th 2nd Avenue, rear portion. So we got that apartment adjacent to the storefront. The room is B1. For my purposes, it is all good. Very humble situation, by the way. You'll see he had all he had was a trunk in the room as his desk. He put stuff on top of it. I do not know why Krishna is trying to establish me in New York. I am his servant, and therefore let his desire be fulfilled through my agency. So he's seeing himself as the representative, like we are. We're representing Srila Prabhupada. The landlord, Mr. Gardner, is Pukka landlord, first class, he goes. He knows how to increase the rent. But I'm not sorry. For 2 months, namely July and August, I will have to pay $62 and odds, whereas from September, I'll have to pay $71 and odds. Let me see how Krishna arranges the things. He's always depending on Krishna to help him. In the evening, there was a meeting in the new store. Let me see here. There was about 8 men. The collection was $5.50, and the book collection was $4. The whole day I waited for Con Edison. So he's getting, telephone was due and installed. The new number is 674-7428. So that's Prabhupada's old number, his first number, at the new location. How exciting. Expenditures, he puts a question mark on it, 50 cents. Wasn't sure. Saturday, 2nd of July, Purnima, sunrise 4:36, sunset 7:32, moonrise 8:45. Today, also, I phoned to Con Edison. They have promised to come sometimes today. Let me see what they will do. And Sunday, July 3rd, Pradipata, sunrise and sunset. So he doesn't mark that. Monday, July 4th, Dvicha, sunrise, sunset, and moonrise. Doesn't mark it. Tuesday, July 5th. So he's changing his pace. Sunrise, sunset, moonrise. Wednesday, July 6th. And he's back to giving some further information for us on how he was conducting himself. Today I purchased a stove and utensils, $18. In the meeting, the collection was $8. The society collection was Raymond, $10, Carl, $10, Raphael, $20, and $40 is the total. In the meeting at 26 2nd Street store, it is settled that the society shall be incorporated, and the name of the society shall be International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And 11 trustees were agreed. So he selected some people that were coming, because this is the legal requirements for the government to accept this as a bona fide organization that can collect money. So he has a vision for the future. Thursday, July 7th, Panchami, sunrise 4:38, sunset 7:31, moonrise 10:49. Today I saw Mr. Goldsmith in his office. He has paid $10. The papers of the meeting were handed over to him. It is expected that the society shall be registered by the next week. He says everything is all right. So he reviewed all the documents with a lawyer. Michael Grant was paid $20 for Con Edison, deposit for the society. $40 less $20. and he's got $20 and add $10, $30 for the society. So he's thinking the movement now, building it. Bus fare is 30 cents. In the evening, two Indian gentlemen, namely Bhagawat and Trivedi, met me and talked with me till 10 at night, and the expenditure was $2. Constitution of the association. We'll read this and end off our opening section here. The name of the society is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is the official name. The headquarters of the society are located at Radha Krishna Temple, 26 2nd Avenue, New York City, and 10,003 USA. 3, the objectives for which the society is being established are A, to educate the greater human society in the techniques of spiritual life, and as the basis for a balanced psychic and biological development, and thereby achieve for the first time in human society a real peace and unity among the contending forces in the world today. So it's a mission. B, to propagate the sense of Godhead, the all-attractive personality of primal and eternal form, as he himself revealed in his own words in the Bhagavad Gita, the holy scripture of Lord Sri Krishna, the Godhead. 3, C, to bring together individuals in a society, regardless of nationality and irrespective of creed or caste, in order to develop a nearness to the Godhead, and therefore the idea that within the members and humanity at large, there is an infinitesimal soul, spirit, that is part and parcel in quality with the Godhead, and that all life is meant for the satisfaction of said Godhead, the Supreme Soul. D, to encourage the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who demonstrated practically the transcendental process of approaching the absolute personality of Godhead by his acts of congregational chanting of the holy name of God, a process known as Sankirtan. Just a small point. Prabhupada had not been going out on the street up to that point, but that was to come, and we'll discover that in the coming days when he goes to the park and begins the process of chanting to the public and expanding the mission. E, to prove by active work and preaching that Lord Sri Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the outcomes of individual and collective sacrifice, penance, meditation, arts, culture, science, because he is the supreme proprietor of the whole universe. Eternally a part of him, everyone knows him as a friend. Real peace can be attained when this is realized in fact. F, to assist whenever and wherever possible in the building of a social structure on the real foundation of spiritual progress and establishment of peace and unity between men throughout the world. G, to attempt to save men individually from the chain of victimization, the ongoing trend in modern civilization operates by, in the name of ideologies of false sentiment. Communism, capitalism, democracy, like that. so that man may again be a free soul to act and live freely with spiritual vision. This is possible by individual spiritual initiation. That's very interesting. It's like I never read this. Diksha, when a man can see everything in God and God in everything by the grace of his divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. H, to further toward realization, this highest truth as revealed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, to have for its objectives among the other 4 principles to which the Goswamis had in view, they are the following. To erect a holy place of transcendental pastimes, as well as a place where members of the Lord Sri Krishna can flourish. 2, to propagate all over the world in the form of missionaries the process of devotion, the transcendental service of Godhead, and to make known that this devotional service is the main function of human life. 3, in order to accomplish this, to adopt proselytizing methods of peaceful means, and to establish a broader society of association for all members, including scholars and admirers, to engage in this service as put forth in the Srimad Bhagavatam, to install wherever it is possible the worship and temple of Radha Krishna. And Prabhupada was very successful in that. He installed temples all over the world. And that of Sri Chaitanya, and to give facility to everyone to become trained in the modes of archan and preparatory principles of devotional service. So he's seeing into the future deity worship, to introduce to the members of the society and humanity at large a simpler, more natural purpose in life by means suitable to the particular place and time as enjoined in the Bhagavad Gita. K, to organize educational programs such as classes. And I injured myself, so I apologize. To institute services such as mailings for the benefit of the members of society and humanity at large. L, to publish periodicals, books, or pamphlets in all important languages, and Vijaya Panda is doing that in Italy right now, in order to reach human society and give an opportunity to the same to communicate with the society. M, to invoke the quality of goodness, particularly in every member of the society, by the process of Diksha, by establishing in the status of a Brahmin good and intelligent men on the basis of truthfulness, knowledge, and faith in the transcendental service of the Lord. Among the secondary objectives of the society, it shall undertake the following activities. 1, to revive the scientific system of social orders of classification based on intelligence, marital spirit, productivity, and common assistance, generally known as the forecast with reference to quality and worth for the common cause of world society. 2, to discharge a matter, of course, the vitiated system of supremacy of one man over another by false prestige of birthright or vested interests. 3, to popularize the vegetable grain diet under approved methods in order that the full value of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and vitamin benefit may be derived therefrom. And 4, to discourage intoxicating or addicting habits of all descriptions and dimensions, and to expose such persons thus afflicted to approved methods of spiritual realization. And it's signed A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Acharya, and then the 4 people that are a party to it as his witnesses. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada. If you get a chance, try to read this through. It'll give you a deep insight into how sophisticated Prabhupada's vision was and how deep philosophically it was. Not like these bogus gurus that now operate in ISKCON. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and the wonderful discourse led by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu, our humble warrior in California.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari.
समान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As we do every week, out of respect and honoring Srila Prabhupada, we will repeat or recite a few selected verses from the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita that Srila Prabhupada personally introduced in his lecturing program on Bhagavad Gita in early 1966. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shugurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaham Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It should be noted that this particular reading of Bhagavad Gita is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan edition, the non-edited, non-adulterated and non-interpolated version of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as originally given by Srila Prabhupada, and all synonyms, translations, and purports are by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Pondaracharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Today we'll be reading from text, chapter 12, text number 8. Mayeva Mada Adatsva Mayi Buddham Niveshaya Nivasishyasi Mayeva Ata Urdvam Na Samshayaha Mayi unto me. Eva certainly. Manaha mind. Adhatsva fix. Mayi upon me. Buddhim intelligence. Niveshaya apply. Nivasishyasi you lead. Mayi unto me. Me eva certainly. Ataha therefore. Urdvam up. Na never. Samshayaha doubt. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always, without a doubt. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, one who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishna-ized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so, although this is a process recommended in the Gita and in other Vedic literatures. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Several times throughout Srila Prabhupada's books, He refers to this point that is described in this purport, that the holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. Now, this is a very important point, because we see, and Srila Prabhupada himself mentioned this point several times, especially when he was in India discussing with various journalists, with various life members, with various dignitaries, of how these Westerners, who were not born in Vedic culture, who were not born in Brahmin families, and who were not born in a Vaishnava environment, how they've taken it to this process and very quickly were engaging in Krishna service, both men and women, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. And Prabhupada's explanation was that the name of Krishna, received in bona fide disciplic succession, takes effect. Now, this is confirmed in the Padma Purana, where it is described, Abhinatvam Nama Naminaha, that the name Nama is non-different than the person Nami. Krishna is non-different than his transcendental nature, and his activities, his qualities, his pastimes, everything related to Krishna is non-different than him. Now, this is a very important point to understand, because sometimes people are mystified. I know that Vishwakarma and myself and other devotees that I know have been accused by certain sentimentalists and persons with a poor fund of knowledge that you people are Prabhupada fanatics, that you don't recognize anybody else besides Prabhupada. Oh, whoever put that, Neil Shyama Prabhu or Ram Raghava, thank you. Nama Chintamanihi Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Abhinatvam Nama Naminaha. Let's look at the translation. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of its material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is a quotation from the Padma Purana. Now, when we analyze this, and this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 17, text 133. Now, this is a very important point, because sometimes people would ask, how are these Westerners taking up this process of bhakti, although they were not born in India, the land of the Acharyas, and the land where Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, all the avatars, all the Acharyas, all the sacred rivers, everything there, why did they take this up so fast? This is a very interesting point. When Prabhupada went to Surat in Gujarat in 1970, the entire town came to receive Srila Prabhupada. As the devotees were going on Samkirtan, the members of the town would go on their second floor and shower flowers upon the devotee, get in flower gardens. It was a very grand reception. So one of Srila Prabhupada's servants asked Srila Prabhupada, why is it that many people in India who are born in this very special environment where Lord Krishna was born, Lord Rama was born, all the acharyas, the major Vaishnava acharyas came here, every river is a sacred river, there are so many very special holy places there. Why is it that so many people born here don't seem to take this very seriously, the process of bhakti? And Prabhupada explains that is because almost 99% of them have been contaminated to one extent or the other by Mayavad philosophy. This is a very dangerous point. Prabhupada continued to explain, although they are very fortunate, they don't seem to take it very seriously. Whereas in America, where you don't have this idea of demigod worship, of equating Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna with demigod worship, you don't have that problem. So therefore, the process is very easy when one is not contaminated with this Mayavad philosophy. Now, as part of these discussions, we've already mentioned that when we went preaching in South India, especially with Achyutananda, Guru Kripa Mahamsa, several times you would meet with these Mayavadi Pandits. And as part of these discussions, they would recite or quote different quotations from the Upanishads, which they claim were superior statements to the various statements that we were making. For example, it is well known to every disciple of Srila Prabhupada and follower, Prabhupada used to often quote, Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yobidadhati Kaman. That Krishna is the supreme eternal amongst eternal, and he supplies all the necessities of all living entities from the Katha Upanishad. So one Pandit one time explained, well, the followers of Adi Shankaracharya, they consider that various statements that are attributed to proving the Saguna Brahman, or Brahman with a form and qualities and transcendental attributes, these are called Vyavaharika, or inferior. And these other statements like Tattvamasi, Soham, and so many other statements, Sarva Kalo Yadam Brahma, these are Paramartika, or superior Shrutis. So one time Achyutananda asked them, so where is this described in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or the Vedas themselves? Where have you ever find this classification described? This is a concoction. There's no proof for this classification. So nowadays we are being confronted as devotees with a certain class of devotees who have divided the statements of Srila Prabhupada into different classifications, claiming, oh, I was there, I was one of the chosen class, or I was a manager, I was one of the best men, I was a confidential devotee, I was a senior devotee. Therefore, our understanding is more important than all of you rank and file regular devotees. This is very similar to the Mayavadi classification of superior understanding and alleged inferior understanding. If one wants to understand Shastra and the teachings of the Acharya, there is one qualification, and it is not difficult to understand. Simply submit to oral reception, to bona fide submissive oral reception from the Acharya. How many times have we heard Srila Prabhupada in different lectures telling us that you do not recognize a sadhu by seeing, but by hearing? But it seems that some people, they have the cherry-picking mentality. They like to pick and choose what they want to hear from Srila Prabhupada, but they don't like to pick and choose the other sections they don't like to hear. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this. Now, we're not going to go into a long diatribe or discussion about this point, but it's very important to understand that Prabhupada's books are self-evident. This is a very important point. Just the other day we discussed, oh, Neil Shamar Prabhu has put something. Oh, thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for that. This is very important. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, text number 6. The text, Srila Prabhupada explains, we'll read the text and then the purport. A sage is not therefore recognized by sight, but by hearing. One should approach a sadhu or great sage not to see, but to hear him. If one is not prepared to hear the words of a sadhu, there is no profit. Shukadev Goswami was a sadhu who could speak on the transcendental activities of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, the present city of Delhi was formerly known as Hastinapur because it was first established by King Hasti. Goswami Shukadeva, after leaving his paternal home, was roaming like a madman, and therefore it was very difficult for the citizens to recognize him in his exalted position. A sage is not therefore recognized by sight, but by hearing. One should approach a sadhu or great sage not to see but to hear him. If one is not prepared to hear the words of a sadhu, there is no profit. Shukadev Goswami was a sadhu who could speak on the transcendental activities of the Lord. He did not satisfy the whims of ordinary citizens. He was recognized when he spoke on the subject of Bhagavatam. He never attempted jugglery like a magician. Outwardly, he appeared to be a retarded, dumb madman, but in fact, he was the most elevated transcendental personality. Now, this is a very important point because we know and we see that many people here have heard that certain peoples are preaching that you can no longer understand Prabhupada's book without the physicality of a senior devotee. Well, what we have here from this text of Bhagavatam is very different. Srila Prabhupada one time was asked, I related the story in the other day in Australia, how one lawyer who is rendering service to the society was keeping Srila Prabhupada's books, excuse me, some allergy here, was keeping Srila Prabhupada's books, but he was not reading them. He was just appreciating how the books were so beautiful, keeping them on his shelf. And Prabhupada, that is nice. If one appreciates, he will get great benefit. And Prabhupada, at the end of the conversations, said, these books are representative of God. That's assuming we're talking about the original non-adulterated books. There's a very clear political insertion by some people who imagine or invent new interpretations of Prabhupada's books and change these books. So anybody can understand Srila Prabhupada. Those of you who may be familiar with the so-called Ritvik debate in San Diego in 1990 on January 14th, where one member of the swamp mentioned, well, you people are arguing like Prabhupada is present right now. Why don't you send a letter to Prabhupada and see what he replies? I wanted to argue. They would not allow me to speak. Why don't you offer Krishna some prasadam and see after 15 minutes if the bhog is still there? Or for that matter, in the evening artik, when you're going to be in front of Gaur Nitai, why don't you have the kirtan and see if they dance right in front of you? I've mentioned that in 1572, this is after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Advaita, Lord Nityananda, all the members of the Pantachattva had already departed. And Narottam Das Thakur and the wife of Nityananda, Janava Mata, they organized a big festival in what is now Bangladesh in a place called Keturi. And at this festival, on the last day, they had deity installations, big, massive Samkirtan. And on that day, the Panchattva themselves, the members of the Panchattva, directly manifested and danced in front of all the devotees. But they already had departed. So how did they dance there? So this atheistic idea that Prabhupada is not here, he's not physically here, he's not available, this is nonsense. This is what Prabhupada criticized in 1975 in Atlanta, Georgia, on the appearance day of his Guru Maharaj, his Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where he said, it is not that he is dead and gone. It is not spiritual understanding. And it's unfortunate that people who had so much personal, physical living, direct association with Prabhupada, have been influenced by this atheistic mentality. As Prabhupada is dead and gone, he's not physically here. Why are you putting so much emphasis on him? Because that is the philosophy that Prabhupada gave us. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, he lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. Now, some people don't accept that, and some people do accept it. Okay, here we go. Wow, thank you, Nilesh Prabhu. Very valuable service you're doing here. Prabhupada says, Amoga, he never got time to read it, to read the books. Prabhupada says it doesn't matter. If he keeps the books with appreciation, that makes his life sure, insured. He immediately becomes in touch with God. Who keeps the book with reverence and love, immediately he becomes in touch with God, because these books are representative of God. What more can be said? Anybody can understand this. It's very simple. It's not complicated. It's not difficult to understand. And we hope, I'm sure that everyone here appreciates that and understands it very nicely. I see our good friend Krishna Kata, now his books, he's been very instrumental in helping to print the first canto of Srimad Bhagavata. Hopefully he can find his original version and put it on the screen. But if we want to commend this service and the service of anybody who has contributed, whether it's $1 or thousands of dollars, and receipts will be made available to anybody, bona fide receipts, which entitles you to claim a tax exemption. Thank you, Krishna Kata. A tax exemption receipt you can file with the IRS on your taxes. We will give you all the necessary information. Oh, here's more. Oh, here we go. This is that lecture I was referring to in Atlanta. So he wanted this, and he's not. It is not that he is dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. Even ordinary living being, he does not die. Nahanyate anyamane sharire. Bhagavad Gita 2:20. And what to speak of such exalted, authorized personality like Bhaktisiddhanta? He is seeing. I never feel that I'm alone. Of course, when I came to your country without any friend, without any means, practically just like a vagabond I came. We see here Prabhupada's amazing humility, comparing himself to a vagabond. But Prabhupada says, I had full faith that my Guru Maharaj is with me. I never lost this faith, and that is a fact. So this is the same situation today. Prabhupada is still with every one of you on this program, anybody listening at any time. Very easy to understand. Keep associating with Prabhupada, living with Prabhupada, and hearing Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. My apologies for going beyond my time allotment. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I may have to leave a little early today. I have a long drive. But thank you very much for being part of this program. And every one of you is a very valuable member of Srila Prabhupada's family, of the Krishna consciousness movement, and you can directly associate with Prabhupada every single day. Simply hear from him, chant the Maha Mantra, and we just march forward back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
More
You could have kept speaking. There's no problem.
Oh, I'll read this. Prabhupada said, I was born in 1896. Now you can calculate. Reporter, what will happen to the movement in the United States when you die? Prabhupada, I will never die. Devotees, Jai Haribol. One thing is, this transcript is not accurate. In the audio tape, it says, I shall live from my books. The reading should be, I shall live from my books, and it will utilize. Are you training a successor? Prabhupada, yes, my Guru Maharaj is there. Where is the photo of Guru Maharaj? I think here he is. So it's basically the transcendental essential teaching of his divine grace. And thanks, I want to make a special thanks here to both Ram Raghava and Neil Sharma Prabhu for very nicely displaying these quotes of Srila Prabhupada. This is very valuable and very important to remind all of us of our very constant relationship with his divine grace. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Excuse me, before Yashodananda Nandan Prabhu leaves, I would like to share one more thing that you had mentioned in the last class about the Sanskrit scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned a letter to Hridayananda.
Uh-huh.
This is the letter.
Oh, okay. Let us see what we have here. Prabhupada said, that is a very good program that you have begun, namely traveling from center to center in preaching, especially from the scholarly point of view of being able to understand this Krishna philosophy very scientifically and positively. You have studied the Sanskrit language for some years. That is sufficient of study. There is no more need. Now you read our books, not that lifelong you have to study Sanskrit. Simply read our Sanskrit wherever it appears in our books and teach these shlokas to the devotees. Do not waste time by studying Sanskrit independently of our books. Quite clear. Thank you, Prabhu. Very valuable statement. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu. And I wanted to refer back to a few comments that you did make. And of course, the purport today, which is the art of eloquence. Lord Chaitanya described it as the concise explanation of the truth. And this purport, even though it's only eight sentences or so, is a concise explanation of Krishna consciousness, how to practice it. I'll refer to it. One who's engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna in his internal potency are dancing on the tongue. When he offers food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables. And the devotee becomes Krishnized by eating the remnants. One does not engage in such service, cannot understand how this is so, because they don't practice the process. They speak it, but they don't practice it. So they have no vijnanam, no realization. And all those, as this process is recommended in the Gita and in other Vedic literatures. So the practice of the process is the essence of making advancement in Krishna consciousness. It's not about position. And it does not base itself on your birth. There's many verses, Ram Raghava, in Chaitanya Charitamrita that refer to this principle that Krishna consciousness is based on your commitment to your spiritual master, not based on where you're born. And this was proven by Srila Prabhupada Ram Raghava when he left India back in 1965. Now think about it. He was a member of the Gaudiya Math, and that Gaudiya Math was started by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, His Divine Grace. And Prabhupada mentions in a purport, I've referred to it on multiple occasions in our classes, that that movement was destroyed by his godbrothers. He termed the point of the term, he used the term whimsical behavior. And thus, by whimsical behavior, a great movement was destroyed. Now, these people are from India. They're all from India. They were trained as sannyasis. They were trained as Vaishnavas. And after the disappearance of his spiritual master, his godbrothers, for material reasons, took over the Gaudiya Math and destroyed it. And why did Prabhupada leave India, Ram Raghava? Why would he leave India by himself? Out of all those people that live there, all those people that are born in the land of Dharma, why would he leave there and come to America? Well, one, he was ordered to by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And two, he had no support. That movement had been destroyed by his godbrothers, and he was not given any respect. Proof. And he came to America and he worked, as we've been studying in the diaries, very diligently, without any personal ambition, to fulfill that order of his spiritual master. And he enlisted Western people to take up the mission. And he was so inspired by their association. And he created a whole organization with them. I remember when we went back to India, Prabhu, in 1973, I was there at the Mayapur festival. And we all knew there that Prabhupada had us come. He started to organize this Mayapur parikram in order to show other people that people from around the world were taking up Krishna consciousness, irrespective of their birthplace, the color of their skin. This movement is not based on where you're born. It's based on, first, Krishna's mercy on you. It really is. That somehow or other, Pure Angelo, you're blessed by Krishna. Ram Raghava, you're blessed by Krishna. Vijaya Pandit Prabhu, you're blessed by Krishna to be a part of this mission of Lord Chaitanya. Dragged. I can remember personally, and I was talking to some of my friends, I can't figure out how I ended up joining the Hare Krishna movement in 1971. I was so attached to so many things, my hair, my reputation, and other things in my life. But somehow or other, I got in this movement. I shaved my head and started to go downtown. It was a big shock in Hamilton, where I'm from. We were a famous local band at the time. And all of a sudden, all of our fans would see us on the streets with our heads shaved, chanting Hare Krishna, and they were in shock. Oh, did you hear? My friend told me when I came back to Hamilton some 17 years later, he said, oh, I'm glad you're back. You finally came back. You went away for so many years. I went away. Like I disappeared from the society that he was a part of, that useless society that produces no result for you, especially in your old age. Like people that are old now are lost. They have no purpose. These people are in these old age homes. It's absolutely pathetic how they're treated, especially in America and Canada. Look what happened with the COVID hoax. It targeted into these homes, and thousands of these people were dying because of the COVID situation, however it came about. This old age, if you don't take up Krishna consciousness, you have nothing. You're Mr. Zero. Now, someone could say, well, how do you know that? Well, I deal with people every day. And I see myself and I see them, and I'm thankful that I became a devotee, dragged to this movement. Like I said, I have no idea. Nowadays, I at least understand, and I think all of you will, that Krishna has called you to take up the service, to help Srila Prabhupada in his mission. And today's reading of the Constitution and all of the different clauses is a real blueprint for us to understand Prabhupada's deep his understanding of the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and how he was planning to execute those orders himself back in 1966. This is the proof of his transcendental position as the bona fide acharya of his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And this is the proof that all of us here were gathered in this group. Yes, we are. And it's a global group. I was happy to see that we have a Mataji from Argentina here. We have people from India in this group. We have people from Europe in this group. We have people from Canada, from America. People, is it based on birth? No, it's based on desire, what your desire is. And Yashodanandana spoke so nicely today and explained to us how this movement is based on the transcendental sound vibration emanating from the lips of the pure devotee. It was remarkable. Of course, all of his speeches, I find them remarkable. Personally, I feel really blessed to be in them. It's very enlightening for me to stay on this path of Krishna consciousness with his association. Please don't minimize devotees. That is a lack of real understanding of this philosophy. Even in the karmi world, they don't do that. Whether it's in sports or in the government. Yesterday I saw briefly a video of Joe Biden honoring soldiers that had died in the Korean War. They had shown their valor, and he said he was telling them, the people, American people, these people should be honored for how many people they killed in the war. And then they died themselves. This Krishna consciousness movement was created by Prabhupada, and he developed this community of devotees. Some people are still understanding the message, others are not. And it's a great opportunity that we're assembled here together to explain it to others. And we should give respect. Be careful how we speak. This is not just some kind of concoction. This is a result of a mission that all of us undertook and have been a part of, in our case, over 55 years. This is not a small thing. It's a significant thing. And all of us working together, that is also very significant, because this will enable us to please our spiritual master. You demonstrate your love for Srila Prabhupada. What is the quote Nilesh Prabhu that Prabhupada give in terms of cooperation and love for him? Do you have it? Your love for me will be demonstrated by your ability to cooperate and serve his mission. This is critical. And this is the training that we give devotees, whether we're in the temple, training hundreds and hundreds of people back then, and even now, so many hundreds of people. Work cooperatively, be a team player, avoid offenses, and take shelter of the holy name, take shelter of distributing prasadam, and take shelter of studying the books as your main focus. Ram Raghava, maybe you could further comment.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a wonderful class. Yes, that statement is, your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate. So it's very, very important for devotees to cooperate um, under the instructions of Srila Prabhupada and push on this movement forward as best they can, locally and internationally also. After all, this is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we can take these meetings to inspire ourselves, and then day to day, in our day-to-day lives, whoever we meet, in whatever way we can, introduce them to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness.
Prabhu, I wanted to make a comment. You have a resemblance to Srila Prabhupada's face. Do you know that? Very similar. Interesting. Dharma Bhavana, you're in the program today. Maybe you could share some insights for us.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I had something to read today. It just turned out the class was exactly about the same thing.
Yeah.
It seems like this living in sound could be a motto for any kind of Prabhupada-centered association. It's the motto for everything. And it may be difficult for many people to remember how in the 1970s, unless you were present, how devotees lived, where the temple provided the prasadam, temple provided the morning program, some kind of daily activities or work everyone did, living accommodations. And almost everyone had not too much education and no job or business. So it was very, very different from now. It's hard to imagine that. And in this connection, I was going to read from the Hidden Glories book, a description here about Prabhupada's disappearance. It says, he lives forever by Padmapani Das. His devotee passed away, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Oh. It says, November 14th, 1977, the day our world stopped. The phone call came. Prabhupada left his body. Words can't describe the devastation we all felt. Hearts broke. Tears flowed everywhere. The universe was in sorrow. The pure devotee of Krishna had left the planet. We had lost our master, our protector, our ever well-wisher. Suddenly the world became dark and cold, and all hope fled from our lives. How could we go on without Prabhupada? It was inconceivable. No longer could we jump in a van or board an airplane to see his divine grace in person. No longer came the reports of Prabhupada's latest preaching success or his most recent instructions to the devotees. No longer did the anticipation of greeting Prabhupada at the airport or watching him bow down before the deities shiver in our hearts. No longer did we have the same youthful confidence that our movement could save the world. Over the years, we have all tried to come to terms with our great loss. In addition, we have each struggled to grasp the enormity and significance of Srila Prabhupada's appearance in our lives. In the process, we have had to grow and expand our vision of the spiritual master and his cause us mercy. While he was physically present, Srila Prabhupada repeatedly warned us that he might leave at a moment's notice. But he also assured us that we need not worry as long as we remain sincere and true to him. I'll read just a little more. Quote, I will remain your personal guidance, physically present or not physically present, as I'm getting guidance from my Guru Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada conversation, July 7th, 1977. In this simple sentence, we find the answer to our great dilemma. Where's Srila Prabhupada now? He's in our hearts if we invite him there. As we each move closer towards all-devouring death, Mrityu Sarvaharas Shaham, we learn that Prabhupada has never left us at all. Quote, in the spiritual world, separation is more relishable than meeting. In other words, in the spiritual life, there is no separation. Separation is eternal and meeting is also eternal. The separation is simply another feature of our meeting. Srila Prabhupada, letter April 3rd, 1969. Haribol, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And actually, Padmapani Prabhu was a very sincere devotee, and he went overseas and was preaching in, I believe, the Middle East. He was one of the first devotees. He was very brave because there's always danger, especially when you're preaching Krishna consciousness in Muslim countries, that you could be injured or killed. So very interesting. I wanted to call upon Paranjana Prabhu. Maybe he could share his insights this morning in today's subjects. Paranjana Prabhu in California.
Hello, Haribo. Can you hear me?
We do, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to read something that is very inspiring, I think, from the teachings of Queen Kunti. Let's see what version I got here. I got the little pocket version. This is from verse 25. And it starts out, actually, there is no other consciousness but Krishna consciousness. And that consciousness is spiritual. Thus, even while in this material world, if we simply increase our Krishna consciousness, we shall live in the spiritual world. If we live in the temple, we live in the spiritual world, because in the temple, there is no business other than Krishna consciousness. There are so many engagements carried out for Krishna. Those who strictly follow the regulations of Krishna consciousness actually live in the spiritual world, not the material world. We may think we are living in New York, Los Angeles, or elsewhere, but we are actually living in Vaikuntha. It is a question of consciousness. A bug may sit on the same seat with the spiritual master, but because the spiritual master has developed consciousness and the bug does not, they are different. So it's funny, Prabhupada gives this example also about his godbrothers. He says they are like a bug sitting in the lap of the king. They think they're the king, but they're just a bug. And all the bug can do is disturb the king. You can't actually help the king. So it's a little like that. These imitation people who think they are, because they're sitting on a guru seat and a big pedestal, they're elevated. But Prabhupada's making this point. It is a question of consciousness. It's not as simply sitting on a seat or putting on an orange robe or having a danda or something like that. So we go on here. They may be sitting in the same place, but the bug remains a bug, and the spiritual master remains the spiritual master. The position and space may remain the same, just as we remain in the material world or the spiritual world. But if our Krishna consciousness is strong, we are not in the material world. Thus, renunciation by itself, the simple giving up of worldly things, is not sufficient. Renunciation may be a helpful process, but it will not help absolutely. When we increase our attachment for Krishna, our renunciation will be perfect. As we increase attachment for Krishna, attachment for this material world will automatically diminish. Attachment for Krishna and the material world cannot go hand in hand. If a woman is attached to two men, her husband and her paramour, she cannot maintain her attachment for both. Her attachment will increase for her paramour. Although she may work at her husband's home very nicely, her mind will be attached to her paramour, and she will think, when shall I meet him tonight? In the same way, if we increase our attachment for Krishna, detachment or renunciation of this material world will automatically come. Thus, Kunti Devi prays to Krishna that he may grant her his mercy by which she can become attached to him. We cannot increase our attachment for Krishna without Krishna's mercy. So this is another point. Why did all of these people fall down? All of these big elevated sannyasis and sadhus and scholars and so many things in ISKCON, they ended up, falling down, smoking cigarettes, having love affairs, so many things, because they actually didn't get Krishna's mercy. This is what Prabhupada is saying here. You can only be detached factually by getting Krishna's mercy. And the way to get Krishna's mercy is to surrender to the actual pure devotee of Krishna in the proper channel, in the proper path. And if you deviate from that path, you take a fork in the road, you're off the road, you're not going to get the mercy. You're not going to get the renunciation. You're not going to get the realization. I mean, we have still people saying, well, how do you know there's not another pure devotee on the planet? What? I mean, after all, can you name this pure devotee? Well, no, but how do you know? Well, it's like you've lost the path. That's what's happened. We cannot become devotees without Krishna's mercy. Therefore, we simply have to serve Krishna, for by that service, Krishna is satisfied. Haribol. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Very insightful information today in the program. Remember, this is a yoga of sound. It's not the yoga, hatha yoga, pranayama, exercise and breathing. And it's the yoga of the age. This is the way to become self-realized and God-conscious and go back home, back to Godhead. There is a truth in this world, and we are presenting it according to Prabhupada's teachings, and we're practicing it, and in this way, we're hopeful by the mercy of the Lord and his pure devotee of being successful and helping others become successful in spiritual life. We're compassionate. Devotees should be compassionate and help others to take up the process in the best way they can. So thank you, everyone. We've reached 11:31 today here in Eastern Canada and around the world, whatever your time zone. We want to thank you for participating. We will be back tomorrow for the wonderful reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of our favorite books, the original Bhagavatams from Delhi. Even though there's lots of spelling mistakes and grammatical errors, we see beyond that the real essence of truth that Prabhupada presented in these books. And we look forward to having your participation. We had a good turnout today. We almost got back up to 40. Seems like we've been going on a roller coaster of participation, but what can you do? It's something that happens in life. Sometimes people get on the bus and sometimes they drop off. They get back on. We just keep going forward like the camel train. The camel train goes through the village. The dogs may bark, but the train keeps going. So thank you, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission. We're going to have a chanting. Okay, I was corrected again. And I believe it's 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Ram Raghav, is that correct?
2 minutes and 54 seconds.
Heck darn. 2 minutes and 54 seconds. We'll have this video. Chant along. Prabhupada is leading, and enjoy the transcendental atmosphere that you create in your own environment. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We're going to offer our respectful obeisances. Just a quick response here. It's Hari Rama. And that's the correct way to chant the holy name like he demonstrated. Vanchakalpa trubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.